Wadid has pulled off the combo with Kalista and Alistar, Kalista Rakan multiple times. Kalista Thresh as well.
A very strong bot lane, although Kalista still has a 0% win rate here in Europe. Is the Camille ban from G2? Schalke looking towards the Jarvan. So in terms of tier 1 junglers, we've got Zac and Sejuani left in the cut.
Right, and Schalke last week did something interesting. They banned the Jarvan and the Zac over Sejuani multiple times. One time they first picked it for themselves. The other time they said, we want to give this to Vitality. We want
no. Gangplank first pick Deficio.
Okay, I mean, these are two of the guys who plays a lot of Gangplank up in the top lane. Very clearly, G2, high priority on this pick. Over in the LCK, it is 100% pick and ban rate still on 8.2. Not the same in Europe, but clearly some of the teams here are saying we agree with the Korean teams, and Gangplank is worth grabbing early. It does mean Sejuani goes over to Pride. This is a bigger deal than I think for most junglers, mainly because it means he doesn't play Kha'Zix.
Yes.
So I'm happy to see him on the Sejuani.
Sejuani was pretty good last week. We have to come back to that top lane matchup. The Gangplank early lock-in. Now we're looking to see if Schalke can find a counter pick, because Wunder and Chachi have been the best two top laners in Europe thus far.
Well, we have to see what Chachi wants to play. It is going to be the Gnar pickup for himself, so we know he gets a bit of pressure up in the top side early on, but the Gangplank scaling is, of course, in favor of G2. Zac is still available if Jankos want to play another tank jungler. I would love to see him on Jax. That would be fantastic to see a jungle pick where he can actually be more aggressive. Just as I get my hopes up, the first choice, the Zac, gets locked in.
Well, you got the prediction right, which is the important thing. And there's the Zoe. There's the Zoe for PerkZ as well. 1-on-1 on that thus far. And NukeDuck. That's a LeBlanc.
One of the few picks we keep hearing that some players feel like they can take against Zoe and then beat her, because Zoe's lack of mobility means that she can't escape ganks against the LeBlanc comp very effectively. Pride and NukeDuck together could be a combination that can shut down PerkZ early, but we know that Zoe, even down 0-5 in the late game, she always comes back. And the LeBlanc in the late game against a lot of these big tank comps, it gets really difficult to deal enough damage to take someone down. So we have to look at the mid lane early with Zoe against LeBlanc.
Make sure to keep our eyes focused squarely on the mid lane. Xayah ban, Braum ban, and that Kog'Maw to round it out from Schalke. Okay,
Schalke getting rid of one of the tank killers, and also the potential Xayah Rakan combo we already saw last game here. Their draft is currently sitting with a very good front line of the Gnar and Sejuani, but because of LeBlanc, we are looking so much at the potential snowball from NukeDuck's side. Upset did play Twitch last time.
I really feel like he's going to play Twitch this time as well. He played it a lot in Challenger Series. It was his most played last split.
You won't get to play.
And it gets banned by G2.
But when you play things like LeBlanc and you want to play around mid, grabbing a bot lane that can push early can actually enable your support to roam. And then he can go mid lane and further try and set up this pick here. So Schalke could step away from the scaling bot lane strategy and go for something that can actually push and win the bot.
Varus?
Varus could be one of them. Caitlyn could be another one in terms of AD carry picks. They're waiting with it for now. Grabbing the Tahm Kench, which is a very safe choice against the Zoe poke, which often is just against a single target with the bubble first.
There is the Varus Ornn from G2, and Schalke now looking towards their final pick.
Look at the amount of engage on the side of G2. Zac, Varus ult, Ornn ulti, long range engages, the bubble as well from PerkZ. This is the kind of draft that you hate to play against if you fall behind early, because they can siege so effectively. And when you're stuck there trying to clear the minion waves, some sort of CC will hit you eventually, and you get poked out by Zoe and Varus, and you are gone. So this G2 eSports draft is very, very good if they can actually siege, group together, and utilize the long-range engage and poke. Where on the side of Schalke, Tristana does also serve the purpose of getting a bit of push, at least in the bottom side. But because of the Tahm Kench pick, I'm not looking at them being super aggressive. And we already heard Vedius earlier today talk about how the Ornn pick works really well against Tahm Kench. You don't struggle in the laning phase against him, and your ulti is so effective because it's a massive AoE. So when Tahm Kench eats the first guy, well, Tahm Kench gets knocked up and he doesn't get to run away with the guy he's eating. And then when you spit him out, you're still kind of stuck in the front line.
So we've talked a lot about what G2 want to do. They want to siege, they want to get this poke, they want to catch people out. What does Schalke want to do with this composition?
It's 1-3-1. Gnar in one side lane, split pushing. NukeDuck in the other one with the LeBlanc here, currently sitting on teleport. And also early game, they have the option to play around the top side. Gnar can outduel the Gangplank early, and LeBlanc can kill the Zoe if she gets a gank in that mid lane. Pure late game, G2's draft scales really well and has a ton of range in their favor. But Schalke, a lot of tools for getting ahead early game. I also prefer the Sejuani for early skirmishes compared to the Zac, so Pride can be active in this game.
It's so rare that we see an early game focused composition or a mid game focused composition, or this snowball comp on the current patch is much more often that we see scaling, that we see people pick a Zir and Rise and all of these things that scale incredibly well into the late game. Well, Schalke don't want to get to the late game. They want to end this night early, and they want to end G2 hopes of a 2-0 week.
As you guys could see right there, some empty seats. That's because Fnatic are doing a fan meet at the moment, so half the crowd is down there taking pictures, and of course can return shortly to watch the game as well. They've not just gone home after Fnatic played and said, I'm done, I'm out of here. Just taking pictures.
So as we get into the game, there were two lanes that we really focused on in picks and bans. It was mid lane, this Zoe into LeBlanc matchup, and it was top lane with Gnar into Gangplank, especially with Wunder first picking that Gangplank for himself.
Also going on Relic Shield here, the goal is simply, once you complete the quest bonus, upgrade it and get a free sightstone for your team, then swap your ward trinket into a sweeper, and you get a lot of extra vision control. Gangplank, of course, loves to play around objectives where he can utilize his barrels and his ulti setup in his little choke points, so it's very good. And it doesn't really set him too far behind because the gold investment is not that big. And Gangplank gets so much extra gold already just by being Gangplank and running Klepto. So he can actually afford it. And let's see this game. NukeDuck and PerkZ in the mid lane. 1-0 PerkZ.
You're going to keep track for us as the game progresses?
It will require us only to look at the mid lane, I believe.
You could do that on your personal computer and I'll keep track of the game at large. Pride starts off at blue, Jankos starts off at red.
Vizicsacsi started Smite up in the top lane with the spell book. Didn't get to use it level 1 to clear a jungle camp, so just use top lane instead, because Pride started on the other side. Let's see if we get any early ganks top, because Pride Stalker is pathing that way, but so is Jankos on the Zac.
And if we do get top lane ganks early on, it's really going to impact how these two top laners play into each other. Both playing incredibly well at the moment. Wunder, a standout performer without too much jungle pressure.
Exactly. Both top laners are often left alone, as you can see with the jungle proximity being this low for both of them. But the CSD difference is heavily in their favor. Tied, funny enough. It's not a typo. It is actually tied between them, sitting in first place for this game here. So it's a lot of 1v1, and they are two of the best 1v1 top laners we have. So I'm glad we don't just get tank versus tank. At least with GP and Gnar, we can get some fights.
That is always the hope. Pride looks to just have cleared out his red, now sitting at the Razor Beaks. PerkZ going to try and get some deep vision here to make sure that they understand exactly where the Sejuani is. Paddlestar's going to come out, and he steals away 3 minions.
Nice here from PerkZ, using early push against this LeBlanc here. A lot of it for NukeDuck is get a few levels under your belt, and then start looking for these trades. Ideally combo them with your jungler.
PerkZ has gone for the unsealed spellbook alongside a minion dematerializer here in the lane, whereas NukeDuck has gone electrocute on this LeBlanc.
It is definitely the best choice for LeBlanc here. Fairly easy to actually proc it and get a bit of extra damage for herself. And it's not about, you know, getting TP late game and being a scaling champion. It is about being able to kill things. And that's where electrocute can shine for him. But once again, we're giving it a few levels, and Pride Stalker is only level 3. Losing those few minions did hurt him a little bit, and it does mean we don't get to see him gank instantly. Jankos will try and find a camp. Sadly for him, the camp is already gone. He gets to walk away, and he has to go all the way down to bot lane if he wants to kill a camp right now.
No scuttle crabs, no camps at all on that top side of the map. We talked about Pride getting this Sejuani being very impactful here for Schalke. It's the first jungler he's really looked dominant on. He had a very strong performance last week. You can see his kill participation up in the high 80s as well.
Yeah, I really like when G2 ran this super scaling teamfight comp because they have lost a few games where they got outscaled. They decided to say, you know what, we just need like you know, Twitch, Sejuani, go late game against Giants and just win the game there. And it was a very successful strategy, and a lot of it came down to Pride on the Sejuani together with someone like NukeDuck on a Galio. But Galio was banned in this game, which is why they opted into this LeBlanc pick here. And it also tells me just the confidence NukeDuck has at the moment. He could have gone for more scaling pick if he wanted to. Could have said, you know what, I don't want to just have to fight PerkZ all the time, but these two guys are some of the best mid laners we have, and that's why we want to see these kind of skill matchups.
Confidence that Schalke have in him as a team as well is incredibly important. He's going to teleport back into the lane. Paddle Star prepped by PerkZ. NukeDuck distorts away from it and turns some damage back on here.
Decent trade.
Trouble bubble misses, but NukeDuck 1-on-1 now in terms of trading in that lane.
Yeah, good for him.
2-on-1 to PerkZ.
Yeah, we still counted. This is what we mentioned with NukeDuck grabbing TP from the pick a man phase. Good for later 1-3-1 as well, but as I said before, no spellbook. It's not about changing these summoners and just scaling. Want that extra damage. Pride though, after he got set behind it a little bit, is gonna finally steal a camp away from Jankos' side. Might have to wait for his level 6. Problem for him is that he's already cleansed on the side of PerkZ. Gotta get rid of that one first if they want to secure the kill.
So Upset backs from the bottom lane, picks himself up a BF sword, but it seems like Hjärnan and Wadid have the push in this lane at the moment. Upset and Vander have been forced back to the tower. Vander teleported back down towards the lane to try and hold it for Upset. But it's going to take a little bit of harass for doing so.
That one rarely works, but it does force the enemy AD carry to stay in lane, to actually poke you and get you to go back to turret. So now if you look at it, Upset returns with the BF sword, Hjärnan is sitting on just Thorn's blade. So Vander successfully baited Hjärnan and kept him in the lane.
I don't think it's going to go on for too long because I assume Hjärnan will just back away now.
Yeah, but then it means Schalke gets to push, which means tempo goes in their favor, and they can then decide if they want to get a bit of damage on turret, if they want to roam with Vander for some deep vision. They actually stop Hjärnan again, so it's still BF sword versus Thorn's blade.
Vander gets a double knock-up. They're looking for some damage here. Wadid doing a good job on this front line, and G2 will just force him back. Flash used by Chachi, and Jankos is the first one to gank out of the two junglers, but Vizicsacsi will be able to get himself to safety. Still a slight gold lead here for G2.
There's probably a lot of it is on the Gangplank with his extra gold income. Now NukeDuck finally hit level 6. To see if they can do something with it around that mid lane. Pride also hit level 6 on his side. If they get rid of the cleanse from PerkZ, they can return gank mid easily. And now Hjärnan will have to swap to teleport, of course, on this Varus and just TP right back to the mid lane or to the bottom lane if he wants to make sure that Schalke doesn't get any advantage. And welcome to AD Carry Spellbook, where getting denied your recall doesn't really matter that much because you can just go TP.
Does mean he doesn't have heal if a fight does erupt at any point.
He only sits on a bow after the first back. He's actually still sitting on 1,100 gold. Almost at 11,000 gold. That was very impressive farm.
That's very odd as well because you can get a pickaxe and boots.
Instead,
that's part of that.
Rushed back in lane.
NukeDuck trying to get that cleanse out here on PerkZ, but it takes a bad trade. Doesn't have the heal up either. It's the battle for...
And we've still not seen a play around it. Vander's level 6 is coming up, but it's hard for him to gank mid, as this time Kench here. Pride has been busy farming. Oh, okay.
Jankos is there as well, as is Wadid. Has the 6, has that ultimate. NukeDuck's going to have to stay around. Does have flash, does have distortion as well. Here comes the call of the Forge God. Jankos going to jump forward. NukeDuck flashes away, and the ram does not connect on the backside.
I like that play a lot here from G2. Wadid roams the bottom lane. Jankos is already in the jungle. Second gank from his side. Second flash forced by Jankos being around one of the solo laners. We did just talk about how once Vander got level 6, he could try and look for mid lane play, and he's actually going for it now.
Trying to get on towards PerkZ, who does have the flash to jump in. There's the flash used. And that's all that Schalke wanted from that.
It is not often you see a Tahm Kench plus AD carry gank at 8 minutes like this here. But it actually worked because PerkZ was sitting there waiting for another wave. And then it's a constant trade. Wadid goes mid first, pulls off a play. That allows Schalke to push the bot lane. So when Wadid leaves the mid lane, he has to go back bot. And now Schalke can roam. And both teams need to constantly be aware of when they have the tempo so they can make the initial step. When they actually pull off a play with it, they have used their energy or their resources. And they're going to go down to 0. And it's on the enemy team then to use their resource or tempo advantage to make their play. And you constantly have to communicate that. So when you back away, you gotta call, careful, the enemy might now show up because he can roam. And I think this time around, it wasn't called.
It's so important as well that you put pressure on this mid lane if you are either of these two teams, because NukeDuck and PerkZ are two of the strongest mid laners in the league at the moment. You can see up in CSD for both of them, their kill participation is up there as well. I think you can give PerkZ a slight edge in terms of laning, but NukeDuck has been so influential for Schalke.
100%. Again, we keep saying it, like two of the absolute best mid laners fighting to be the best mid laner in the EU LCS. There's a lot of strong members towards the top, like Caps is definitely one of them up there fighting against these two guys. But this game here, it's still that LeBlanc where we have some questions regarding how Schalke wants to use it, because we know how Zoe's going to play. Like, she's fine just going even in lane, walk into the mid to late game and start firing bubbles over every single wall, land one, smack a hit in the face with the Q, and then you are effectively carrying a game as a Zoe. So it's all about the long-range poke and pick potential. It's more about NukeDuck and Pride as a combination. Oh, might get something here.
Coming out with a Mimic. There's the Ignite used onto NukeDuck as well.
Because we can see the damage NukeDuck can apply, and PerkZ can't really escape it without a flash. So if there's a gank, they might be able to get a kill, but that cleanse is still in the way. So Pride can't just fire long-range ulti and see if he can kill PerkZ. I still think you could have gone for a gank, see if you can get the summoner out, and then see if you can return gank. Yep. But Schalke are not the kind of team to go all in early game. They do play very calculated.
Both these teams perhaps realizing the stakes of this game as well. Two teams that are expected to be top contenders near the end of the split. Both sitting at 3-3. A loss here puts you down to a negative win-loss ratio. So you definitely want to win this game.
And you want to keep up with Fnatic, who just picked up a win against Unicorns of Bluff. So Fnatic is sitting 4-3 in the standing.
And you have to chase Vitality, who won as well today.
Basically, there's a lot of teams
that are winning.
There are a lot of teams winning, also a lot of teams losing, funny enough.
Equal, actually.
There you go. There's a lot of teams fighting for top 6. We only have, at the moment, 2 bottom teams in Europe, in H2K and Unicorns of Bluff. Everyone else are currently in playoff contention. Let's see what happens, bud.
3 players bot lane for Schalke. The Glacial Prison is going to connect onto Hjärnan as he tries to get underneath the turret, but a good cannon barrage will distract the Schalke members. Wadid's going to get gobbled up there by Vander. He's going to try and get away with the Bellows back, but the stun connects, and that's first blood to Schalke.
So instead of going mid, Schalke looks down towards the bottom lane. The amount of CC between the Tahm, Kench, and the Sejuani.
Oh, here comes NukeDuck. The chains, the kill, the duck.
G2 at the moment are pushing that mid lane turret. Will get the first turret off the game, but losing 2 members bot does hurt a lot. If NukeDuck leaves, however, the G2 dual lane might be able to TP bot lane in case Schalke are pushing, but all of Schalke members, they're using the advantage to just back off, return, spend all your gold. This is a fairly strong Tristana early on in terms of items, but also Rage Spray now completed on the side of G2's bottom lane. We did actually instant TP'd back. We'll see if we can find one of these control wards being placed on the bottom side, but let's see the play again. It's second time Vander uses an aggressive ulti to force a fight, and Hjärnan is forced out early. What did here? Let's see, can he just step away when he's looking to try and save his AD carry? I think he's doing everything he can to make sure Hjärnan doesn't die. And when you then try and flash, Tahm Kench just turns around and eats you, and then you're not getting out.
And especially you get such quick procs on the Sejuani passive, that stun, because you've got double melee. NukeDuck comes in at the end. It's not too difficult for him to clean that one up, and Upset was there trying to jump in as well.
But did cost him that mid lane turret. So it was 2 kills traded for the mid lane turret.
And it now means that G2 have a 1,500 gold lead. And actually, if we look at where that gold lead is, a monumental amount of it is in the top lane. There's 1,000 gold ahead for Vizicsacsi with only a 2 CS lead.
See Vizicsacsi running with the futures market on the Gnar. He's down in the negative. Getting that back here, but now we get a mid lane play.
Jumps on towards PerkZ. There's the stopwatch. Jankos on his way in as well. NukeDuck needs to try and re-engage because Pride is now on the wrong side of this fight. PerkZ there, Jankos as well. Schalke should be able to weave their way away from this one. Pride flashes. PerkZ with the Sleepy Trouble bubble. He's going to get back towards the remnants of that tower. The paddle star, the flash. There the chains as well. And Jankos, he's stunned up in the middle of the air. And G2 won't finally engage.
Once again, PerkZ sitting with that cleanse, keeping it. Pride's ulti was on cooldown when he started. Bot lane fight.
Upset jumps into TP coming in as well. Hjärnan with a great stopwatch. Wadid gets the double knocker, but Upset with another jump gets on towards him. He's eaten up by Vander to get him away from the call of the Forge God. But here comes PerkZ, and G2 are not done with this fight yet. Vizicsacsi in the mini Gnar trying to go up towards the side. There's the stopwatch. Sleeping Bubble Trouble is flashed away from him. Here is Chachi. What can he do? He's got a stopwatch as well. Everyone's going golden. It's in honor of the Olympics. Vander in with the chase onto Wadid. PerkZ there off towards the side. He gets a panel, but he gets taken out by NukeDuck, and Schalke are winning the fight. Ethereal chains from NukeDuck won't be enough. Schalke win out.
Insane fights here in the bottom lane. Upset and Vander, they start the 2v2. They win it against Hjärnan and Wadid, and when the rest of G2 came down to try and help, they also end up suddenly dying or having to flash away. 4 kills for Schalke, but currently still 0 turrets, and Wunder gets another one top. Let's see if they can get the bot lane turret at least for Schalke. It's going down now, trying to catch up in gold, but early fights in favor of Schalke, early turrets in favor of G2.
And how important is it for Schalke to get NukeDuck rolling? Because here he gets such good play.
Yeah, we keep talking about how he needs to just get ahead here, but Hjärnan, he gets destroyed in the early trade. Upset then jumps into the belly of Vander, so he actually stays alive. And while here PerkZ, when he sees the stopwatch, he tries to then just put the bubble underneath, but instant flash out of it so he doesn't fall asleep. And now, as a Zoe, ulting away, just means you're gonna jump right back in, and it's hard for him to escape that extra jump and mobility from NukeDuck. Great fights in the bottom lane, very close back and forth, but Wunder was just sitting top lane, taking down another turret. G2 eSports looking for the last outer turret, and we have to remember, G2's comp scales really, really well. So not only is Wunder getting additional gold from just being Gangplank and Klepto, he's also getting 3 turrets. He's almost sitting on Starix now, and we're only 16 minutes in.
Importantly, Schalke did take an Ocean Drake there, so they do have a dragon on there. So that's actually a while ago, so I totally forgot about that one. Infernal up in a minute and a half. Rift Herald here as well for Schalke if they want it, but they're 2,000 gold behind. And first items are coming out. Hextech Gunblade for NukeDuck, Morello Nomicon for PerkZ.
Also Rift Herald here because we had G2 spending their resources on bottom side, killing the turret. That means Schalke can instantly make a play on top side. Both teams end up just cross-mapping each other. But this Rift Herald can be huge because Schalke trying again to catch up in turrets. Unleash NukeDuck. 2 kills. TP. 1-3-1 with Gnar on one side, NukeDuck with LeBlanc on the other one. You've got to get the outer turrets down so you have longer lanes to push. This Rift Herald is going to be big for Schalke.
And I'm liking what I'm seeing from Upset this week as well. Like, up until now, he seemed a little bit more tentative there. He was the one to engage. He was the one that jumped onto Hjärnan. He was the one that jumped back into the belly of Vander. It's a little bit more like the Upset some of us expected to see coming into the EU LCS.
Definitely good to see him show up here on this Tristana. Currently sitting with just 1 kill, 1 assist, but farmed decently well in this game despite being a bit down, but some of the trades actually meant that he ended up losing the CS the back half after the fight. Infernal Drake, 20 seconds. Chachi, no TP top lane, and all of G2 are ready to contest this Infernal Drake.
And there's no vision at all for Schalke on this bottom side of the map. That's all G2's domain. Everything the light touches down here belongs to them.
Yeah, we also have to remember Schalke, happy to play a game where the map is split. Happy to play a game where it's not walking 5-man together into the poke of G2.
Oh, NukeDuck dodged it! Jumps back onto PerkZ, the Hextech Gunblade, and PerkZ is down! That's how you win the mid lane!
The year of NukeDuck. I love the jukes right here. PerkZ gets surprised, he dies. That Infernal Drake G2 were setting up for, but that's still alive. Now it's Schalke's turn to move in and see if they can kill it. We've had some great outplays.
Oh, that was beautiful from NukeDuck. Jumps right back in, the Infernal Drake there, control ward on it. I don't think G2 are going to contest this. They do have Hjärnan, good Chain of Corruption, they've got the Call of the Forge God, they've got the Let's Bounce from Zach as well, maybe they'll try for an over-the-wall steal. Here goes Jankos, opens it up, can't land the cross-field smite. And Schalke Norfolk get their second dragon of the game. They're going to get a tower in the top lane as well.
And that Rift Herald is still there, sitting in the inventory of Pride. Mid lane turret can be the objective for him, and suddenly Schalke can even out the gold, even get the goldie. Let's see the play again. PerkZ finally lands a bubble onto NukeDuck, thinks he's gonna get the huge hit in his face, and then he jumps back just at the end, surprises PerkZ, and then he can't get away. He dies. Great play from NukeDuck.
Quack, quack, says NukeDuck. Now, Only 1,000 gold between these two teams. Mid-game spikes being hit for Schalke Null Fear. Black Cleaver, Hextech Gunblade, IE, and Static Shiv completed on Upset as well. Is this when this composition truly comes online? Is this when we'll see the 1-3-1?
I mean, when they've already gotten kills on the LeBlanc, it makes the 1-3-1 even stronger. And yes, when these outer turrets are gone, that's when you can unleash the split push. You can already see the positioning. Let's add another part to the 1-3-1. It's Tahm Kench sitting in mid. His ulti, mid to top, mid to bot. Schalke can instantly show up with 2 extra members to either counter gank in the side lane or set up a more aggressive tower dive. So there's a lot of ways for him to play the map. I will say though, playing 1-3-1 is very difficult against a lot of tank champions, because tank champions can always go Baron. And when they go Baron, you're forced to stop split pushing and TP in to stop the Baron from dying. And that's one of the ways for G2 later on in the game to force 5-on-5 team fights. But right now, Schalke got a stronger team.
Rift Herald used in the mid lane as well. Schalke going to group up as 5 to try and defend some of the Herald's push. Jump in from Jankos, trying to get onto NukeDuck, can't quite make the connection. Let's bounce as he takes it back. But brings an explosive shot into the team as well. PerkZ jump forward for Upset, couldn't quite find the connection. And G2 still with a gold lead at the 20-minute mark. We can see up to week 3, pretty even until that 20-minute mark, and then they're sometimes able to accelerate and take the win.
Yeah, the big thing is the 2 highlighted ones here against HK and against Splice. That was last week when they went 2-0. That late game got so much better. They started actually getting ahead in the late game. They stuck with it. They managed to secure Barons and win team fights, something they did struggle a bit with in earlier weeks. This composition, again, good scaling on their side. Their win condition is going to be 5-on-5 team fights in the late game. Ideally, you land some poke first before the fight starts, but that's how you want to play it.
Chachi missed the Gnar here. He's back into the mini form. PerkZ is going to flash away, but here comes the Abyssal Voyage that he talked about. Call of the Forge God's been used mid as well. Jankos jumps away from it, and Pride did get engaged on by Wadid.
Wadid tried to stop the ulti here from Vander to see if he could CC him before he showed up in the side lane. Jankos had to flash away from that engagement, and this will keep happening. The static shift on Upset is very important because it allows him to kill the wave faster and get mid lane control, which then allows him and Vander to ulti to the side lanes. It's all about pushing mid first and then unleash your support and AD carry. So that static shift over the rapid fire cannon as his first seal item is pretty important for Schalke. So far though, G2 stalling. Still ahead in gold. Still looking to just get more items on someone like Wunder. He is a very strong Gangplank player. He's been getting a ton of farm and turrets in this game. He needs to get towards the crit items so he can really be a late game carry.
So if they can just get items on Wunder, does that just win them the game? The split push, the damage that he has later on, or are they looking for other spikes as well?
I mean, of course, when you have an AD carry like Varus, who currently is 0-2, kind of need him to catch up a little bit as well. Luckily, he does have value in terms of just his ulti to provide some mobility, but you're gonna need Hjärnan with 3 to 4 items in the late game, of course, if you want to consistently win fights. They can't really get that quickly. At least they can keep funneling gold into Gangplank.
He's gone for Blade of the Ruin King second here as well. Jankos going to jump in on towards Upset. He'll just leap away, but the double stretching strike and PerkZ is on his way. There's the cannon barrage. Vander eats him up. Pride taken low. Drowsy as well. Wadid there, but he's going to take a lot of damage in return as G2 have to disengage.
And we keep seeing G2 try and force together. When you're playing against split push, typically a way to shut it down is take over mid lane. Move in as a 5-man unit, force a team fight, secure 1 or 2 kills, go Baron. Split push, done. In this case here, because of the Tahm Kench pick, so key for Vander. He gets to disengage with the team, and now they get to push back because all of G2 just invested all their time in trying to force a play. They backfired, and now they have to go back and catch minion waves. Look at top lane. PerkZ needs to go pick up that wave. Bot lane, Wunder needs to push out that lane, and suddenly Upset gets control of mid lane once again. It's this constant trade. Now G2 are 5 together, they make a play. If that backfires, ball goes over to Schalke. Their turn to make a play.
And that will be the mid lane tower going down. Basically even on gold as we crest the 23-minute mark. Upset still just pushing in this mid lane, and those crits can do a mighty load of damage.
And this siege comp from G2 is not getting to siege anything. These tier 2 turrets are very far away. They constantly need to deal with either Chachi or NukeDuck, and they can't kill them 1v1 so they have to send multiple members. But then there's Vander and Upset showing up with the Tahm Kench ulti. So grouping 5 around Baron is going to be one of the ways back in the game for G2. But it does require enough tankiness to actually stand in the Baron pit and tank it. There's no armor, or not enough armor, sorry, on Jankos' side just yet. Luckily, the Warmocks will help him to go out and get the HP back. But you know the moment you started, double TP is going to happen. And then you got to be ready to take the fight.
So we've got Infernal Drake up, we've got the Baron as well. You can see a slew of control wards in the inventories of Schalke Null Fear. They will be setting up vision control. It looks like they want to play down towards the bottom side of the map, and G2 have respected this. They're trying to get vision of their own.
Could also be decent for G2 because they have 5 together.
Chain of Corruption on towards Pride. Perks in from the side as well. G2 stepping forward. NukeDuck jumps into the back. There's the Let's Bounce, brings Vander back. But already Pride still alive, and G2 get one. Wunder gets it. There's a second as well. TP's late here from Vizicsacsi. G2 win the fight.
Just we talk about G2, 5 members together. This is where they're strong. They wanted this kind of fight. I'm actually surprised Schalke decided to engage it this way. They had no flank set up at all. They didn't have any side lanes pushing in their favor either just yet. So they walked straight into the 5-man comp of G2. This was a very important play.
NukeDuck on Hjärnan's just gonna kill him! Jumps straight back in towards Jankos as well, and now he's outgunned by PerkZ.
Got a kill on the AD carry, but still 4 members alive here on G2's side. They will get to steal away a few jungle camps. Schalke kind of pinging towards the Baron, but right now G2 are not on it just yet. Look to just be looking to steal away what they can, and then reset. Back away, use this advantage. You just got Infernal Drake, you got a few kills as well, and you stop the split push at least for a few minutes.
So let's have another look at this.
Yeah, this is surprising because this is not how Schalke can fight. They want to flank with Gnar, with LeBlanc. They want to force G2 to not just sit 5-man together instantly. So when they go in with just 1 or 2 guys, they give G2 an opportunity to start a fight. That's where Zac can shine. Jumps in, great engage from Jankos, smacks Wadid into, of course, smacks Vander into Pride, and suddenly Schalke can't disengage. Great, great setup, but Schalke also gave G2 a chance to get a 5-on-5.
It's important to note as well, Chachi did use his TP at the end of that fight. Didn't complete it, so it's on a reduced cooldown, but Wunder has teleport advantage right now if G2 were to do something.
Another fight.
Call of the Forge God, Upset, not eaten up here. There it comes afterward, the knock-up, taken back behind the tower.
Let this be a lesson for everyone in solo queue. If you cannot stop the crazy Tryndamere in the side lane when he's split pushing against you, tell your team, go mid. And start moving forward and try and force a play. Because when you then get the control, the side lanes can't push, because you can then move in and gank them very easily. Or you can go Baron. So in this case here, G2 are effectively grouping mid and just running straight at the enemy team, and it works.
Here comes Jankos Pride with a great knockback. There's the cannon burst as well. Upset trying to jump away. The Drowsy comes out. Let's bounce Pride back into the team. And that's a dead jungler.
Very, very important. Again, G2, they understand how to play this draft, how to play against Schalke's comp. Still feel like it's too early for them, it seems like. I think they can just go Baron here and at least turn around and take the fight if Chachi TP's in. Remember that spellbook, meaning reduce cooldown on the TP, so Chachi is ready.
Here it comes, PerkZ is in that front line here. Chachi does not have Mega yet. G2 going to try and just engage straight on towards the Gnar. Paddle Star comes out.
Few seconds on Wadid's ulti. It's gonna be key here in this river. So hard to dodge it. They're waiting for it right now before they start it again. Now they started because you guys can see Wadid's ulti is almost ready. They're actually baiting it. They're just kind of acting near the Baron pit. People think it started, but they're not hitting it yet.
Pride is back alive as well. Here comes the call of the Forge God. G2 knock up, Upset's low. NukeDuck there off towards the side as well. Pride on his way, but he can't join the team just quite yet. Upset gonna have to retreat down towards the bottom side. G2, Jankos opens up an elastic slingshot. Upset flashes away and Buster shots him as well. Can Upset survive? Can PerkZ take on NukeDuck as they're trading off towards the top side as well? Upset lives to see another day.
Great acting skills from G2. However, 5-man. And there's not that one guy who just misclicks, so he like A moves and start hitting the Baron. He's like, oh, sorry guys, I didn't
That's solo queue in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, you can never do that one in solo queue.
Is it really acting when you're miming? Because they were just standing still.
Isn't that kind of acting?
I guess so.
Anyway, Jankos have found some good engages. He's now learned he needs to try and get onto both Vander and whatever target they want to kill. And then he CCs Vander first, so he can't just instantly devour who they're trying to actually kill, and then they end up taking the jungler down. We don't get to see what happened around Baron, but there was of course no kills picked up by G2. We continue. Once again, Schalke can't properly set up their 1-3-1 because mid lane, with the amount of engage from a Zac and this very smart Ornn pick, it just means that the dual lane of S8 and Vander, they're never safe. They're always forced back when G2 group.
Now we'll see what happens in the Baron. The Mimes standing there.
There you go, and then we see the engage. Wadid actually just managed to angle it over, hitting the Tristana. Big hit from PerkZ, landing as well, but sadly for G2, could not get that last kill they needed.
You can see they're beelining for upset as well. They know that if they can take down the Tristana.
That's a flash gone though, which could be key. Getting a good example of why a lot of teams do not want to run split push comps, because it's so difficult to execute in the late game. They're trying to hide in the bottom lane, remember double? TP on the side, only NukeDuck's available. Wunder, he doesn't know. He didn't use the blue trinket there.
So they use the fake one. Is Wunder going to think, oh, that was just for vision?
Sneaky, sneaky, NukeDuck.
Control wood there, wait for the minions to get out of the way.
If they get a kill here, they can go for Baron on the side of Schalke, but Wunder, he's playing it smart. Instantly runs towards the river, where there's a ton of blue vision already from G2, and now he's just going to join his team around the Baron.
So Reason is the best top laner in the league at the moment in a lot of people's eyes. G2 setting up around the corner. Upset's going to jump away, and Wunder was on his way for the fray as well. Now they see NukeDuck in the bot lane. They've seen Chachi as well.
Yeah, Chachi needs to run because he's no TP available. Baron can once again be started, and G2 can either try and finish or just engage on to Schalke.
Pride gets put to sleep. Jankos is going to jump across the wall. Chachi there as well. NukeDuck's made his way across with the TP. Here's the call of the Forge God. G2's going to try and engage on towards the Gnar. He gets rooted up with a chain of corruption. Does go Mega. Can't get onto Wadid, who takes him out, but Wadid falls as well. 1-for-1 traders. Schalke will just disengage off towards the top side. NukeDuck get away from this as well.
Such a tense game. You can see everything G2 wants to do around the Baron. They're calling. NukeDuck needs to TP. Let him waste that cooldown, and then we try and take the fight. This was supposed to be a 1-for-0, but because of the damage of the LeBlanc, Wadid did end up dying after. Infernal Drake though for G2.
It's 2 Infernals for them now. It's a very good position, and all Schalke get is some vision control.
Schalke is also ready in case all of G2 recalls to reset. Then they can TP in with Chachi in 20 seconds and actually rush a Baron, but they obviously see all of G2 returns to the mid lane. This very much is a macro game. 1-3-1 versus 5-man group. We see all the answers from G2, and now we might see a trap set by Schalke.
Don't know that Jankos is there. PerkZ as well from the side, looking for the stun on towards Jankos. Hjärnan as well, opening up the sleep onto Pride. He gets eaten. Jankos with the stopwatch, and Upset can't quite take him down. Teleport used from Vizicsacsi. Maybe they'll go for Baron now. The jump in, and Hjärnan manages to escape. Now has the barrier alongside that flash to try and keep himself alive against NukeDuck. And we're getting to the later portions of the game here, Deficio, where we thought Schalke as a composition may fall off a little bit, especially that LeBlanc.
Well, we've seen how hard it is for them to play this split push comp against all the engage of G2. We see team fights. It can be difficult as well. Wunder was still alive for this one, but that's a flash gone, and every single cooldown matters right now. The damage on this Tristana and LeBlanc together, if they get onto one target in front line that's not Jankos, is extremely high. They will kill that target very quickly, and there's no Tahm Kench on G2's side to save one member who's caught out. Hjärnan is still not that strong in this game here. He's mainly just been on wave clear duty. But if he gets to sit and last it, of course there's a lot of damage on his side. It's not often he gets to do that against this comp that wants to flank.
Triple items on him though. There's the engage! Didn't even have time to flash.
What was he doing there? 3 members was on the other side of the wall, and Wunder was in the mid lane. Hjärnan did not have to be that far forward. That's a huge one for Schalke. Will they just start the Baron and take the 4v5 team fight? Chachi though, he's not here. He needs to run to join a team. Ooh, this slows everything down now for Schalke despite getting a pick on an AD carry.
It's not really what you want if you are Schalke. Triple items, quad items, sorry, finished on upset as well with the Mercurial Scimitar. Let's look at Hjärnan again. He's backing.
Oh, no. That's too greedy. Can't do that near the river in the late game.
Tut.
He thought he was safe. He had a control ward.
But when everyone's playing around Baron, you have to be anticipating them moving forward like that.
Luckily for Hjärnan, he didn't use any summoners, and it didn't actually cost him any big objective. It did allow Schalke to push bot lane, get a free recall. Now they're back. Another fight.
Upset gets eaten up by Vander, who flashes across the core of the Forge God. That means Upset can open up once again. Chachi gets put asleep. So
good moves here from Vander, but that wasn't even like a full-on team fight. It was just Jankos kind of flying by at first. This Wadid ulti is going to be ready fairly soon. Oh, PerkZ.
That was a flash on the spell thief. That was not his own flash, so just using other people's summoner spells. And we do get to a point in the game where PerkZ is incredibly deadly now. Rabadon's Deathcap, Morello, Nomicon. Just land those sleeps.
And again, we see how G2 are trying to keep the range and land poke, sleep first. Tahm Kench will deny a lot of damage there. You can just eat the guy who's, of course, falling asleep. Meanwhile, we see Schalke try and get flanks. NukeDuck jumps in from one side, gets a few hits on someone, jumps back. Do this over and over until you catch someone out of position. It's crazy little standoff. One side is long-range poke, and the other side is pick potential with the LeBlanc.
It is allowing Wunder to continue to scale up on this Gangplank, though. More crit items, has an Infinity Edge. He's got the Static Shiv, he's got Sterak's, he's got Trinity Force. Almost at a 5-item Gangplank, which is pretty darn devastating if you can land a couple of barrels. And this tension just continues to build, Deficio. And the further we get into the game, the more it becomes a one-fight game. The more it becomes a who wins the next Baron to actually close out this matchup. And both G2 and Schalke are unwilling to let go of their grasp on vision around that Baron pit.
Chachi is once again in the bottom lane. Wunder can just match it though. TP is available on his side. But if you get to push first, also means you can TP first before the other guy gets to kill the entire wave and push it back. We give a small advantage for Schalke if a fight is started, but they're not in a position to do it just yet. Wunder gets to push it all the way back. On his side, we're once again waiting for two teams who are happy saying, you know what, we got some strong late game options. There's a fairly fed Tristana on the side of Schalke. There is a LeBlanc who can definitely kill, remember, out of position, but until the Baron dies, this game is still wide open.
Important to note as well, this is patch 8.2, which means you cannot cleanse the Drowsy, which is coming in the future patches. So even though we've got a Mercurial Scimitar on Upset, he has to wait until he's asleep before he can get rid of it. If you are devoured by Vander, he gets rid of the sleep. It makes sense. If you're dunked in a stomach full of acid, you would probably wake up quite a lot.
I would hope so. You actually should take damage if you get devoured by Tahm Kench, but that's not how it works in this game.
It's the kind of acid that you have.
Oh, the good kind.
Yeah, the good kind of acid.
Nice.
It's fine.
Let's see if we can get a good kind of engage. Jankos is trying again.
Chain of Corruption, Vander there, but look at the damage on Upset. Now Vander needs to try and get away, but the Call of the Forge God will knock him up. He's going to spit out Upset, who flashes, who heals. Let's bounce, knock back. Vander's dead, but Upset survives.
Meanwhile, we have LeBlanc and Gnar in the side lanes taking the tier 2 turrets. G2 once again trying to stop the split push by just going all mid. They get the 1 kill on the support, but they will lose 2 turrets. But Chachi can continue bot lane. NukeDuck now moves in to try and stop the Baron.
Wunder has backed away. Teleport coming in from Chachi in towards that mid lane. The Baron down 7,000, 6,000. G2 ticking over on it. NukeDuck from the side. Here's the TP from Wunder joining the fight. 2,000 left on the Baron. NukeDuck dodging around as much as he can. Chachi opening up onto Wunder. The Baron is still alive and Wunder's dead. The Baron goes down. G2 get it, but Upset is here and he's opening up on towards G2. It's on PerkZ. It's on the damage, but they just don't have enough. They get one for one trade. NukeDuck's still alive. Jankos so low. Will falling to the next man. PerkZ trying to get the battle stars from the side, but G2 are falling apart at the hands of Schalke.
In the end, Baron went over to G2, but the fight went in favor of Schalke. This game is still wide open, but that's quite some death timers on G2's side. Let's see if Schalke can get something. Let's see the fight once again. Remember, one member is dead. Vander is not here. So it's multiple flanks from Schalke members. Upset Vizicsacsi bottom side. NukeDuck coming in over the wall. They get an early kill on Wunder. That's a big one. That's a very fat Gangplank going down. And after the Baron is already dead, no one here is going to kill NukeDuck. So he can just keep dancing around with this LeBlanc. Great team fighting on his side. And now the big reward for Schalke. It's going to be that Elder Drake. They already have an Infernal and an Ocean Drake. Ulti, of course, very early because Wunder doesn't have any vision around the Elder Drake itself. That is now secured by Schalke.
12 kills to 7, almost 40 minutes in. The teams tick over to exactly 68,400 gold each. And it changes as I talk, obviously, just to ruin the gravity of the moment. An Elder Drake on one side, a Baron remaining only on PerkZ on the other. I don't think this game could be any closer at this point.
And it's really good to see these two teams try and play this calculated, try and really follow the rules of a split push comp and a hard engaged 5-man comp on the other side, or death ball comp as some like to call them. Super back and forth. We've seen the good things and the bad things of both comps as well in this game.
And we've still seen development from both these teams as well. You know, a lot of people talked about Schalke as a Week 6 team, a summer split team, perhaps developing as a roster. We're starting to see a lot more of that right now.
Yeah, I mean, as said, I was 1,000,000% sure that they would make playoffs, no matter how they played in the early weeks. So I kind of hope they can, to not, you know, prove me wrong right there. G2 eSports, it's the same deal. It's a new roster, but it's a roster who's not playing this all-in aggressive crazy style that you could think when you look at some of the players, like Wadid, when he used to play things like Rakan and Alistar, was in people's faces all the time. Wunder used to just play carries that you could play around in the early game, but it's not been that kind of G2. It's been a lot more about scaling now. There's been tanks in the top lanes, pure tanks in the bot lane, and they're trying to play the macro game, which
Upset
is good.
stole that blue buff, which is pretty good from him across the wall.
Great job.
Knock it away.
There you go. Rookie of the split already.
Is that how we judge it from now on?
Blue buff steal.
How many blue buffs you have stolen? Wunder now critting incredibly well. He's something we haven't talked about yet because it isn't always relevant, the Ornn items. Wunder has decided to go for a Molten Edge instead of just the Infinity Edge.
I love it when you say that. It actually sounds dirty when you say it. Say it again.
Molten Edge.
Oh. It sounds so much better than Infinity Edge.
It does.
We're so bored of that item.
I'm really looking forward to the Rabadon's Death Crown as well,
Ooh.
which is one of my favorite items on Summoner's Rift.
Still looks like a hat, so kind of crappy crown, I guess, when he upgrades it.
Well, G2 haven't been acting like the kings, so they don't deserve a proper crown yet.
Like, good thing you added the yet here. Let's see what Schalke can do with the Elder Drake.
Oh,
right
Wunder
now,
takes a
NukeDuck,
chunk.
yeah, he's looking for it. He didn't get the kill, though. Will only get a bit of damage on the turret, and then the mini-wave will die because Gangplank, he can kill him fast, and a fight might happen.
Jankos there from the side, Call of the Forge God. They'll be looking for NukeDuck here. Do get the knock-up. Let's bounce, brings back only Pride, but already NukeDuck is dead, and Pride now caught in the midst of G2. He's outnumbered, outmanned, he's outgunned, and he's outplanned by G2.
We've talked about this multiple times this game, and we get to see it again. The Ornn and his engage makes it so difficult to play Tahm Kench because multiple members can get hit. The Tahm Kench can get hit as well, even when he devours a target right in front of him. This time around, it actually meant that NukeDuck couldn't get away in time. Good engage from Jankos, and then the follow-up from Wadid. Long-range engage is so powerful here. Notice this one. NukeDuck can't really step forward because then, oh, he gets knocked up instantly and he dies. And he couldn't get saved by Vander either because he already had to save his AD carry. This AoE engage from both a Zac and an Ornn is so effective against a support that can only save one target.
Felt a little bit greedy from Schalke as well. There wasn't a minion wave there.
Yeah.
They came round on towards the tower without knowing where the Zac was. And now G2 can try and push in this middle lane.
It feels like a call was made just before Wunder killed the wave.
Yeah.
It was like, oh guys, we got a wave here. Wunder's back in base. Go get the turret down. Chachi's on the side here. He's spotted. G2 will just get one turret. Sticking to the tradition of this game, no one gets too much.
No, you can only take one turret at a time. One kill, one turret, one Baron.
Drake, for you, then I have to win the next team fight. I will get a turret, and now you are allowed to get an objective.
It's like diplomatic League of Legends. So if you're going for a diplomatic victory, this is what you do. Schalke, though, known for their military contests with the Schalke tank, of course.
Tank. Not sure what G2 can't really bring a tank.
Is there a sort of a conquest in Civilization where if you own enough of the map, you win? Because that's their kingdom, isn't it?
I believe not.
Oh, okay, well.
I mean, by then you would have enough in terms of culture or tourism or something that you're going to win that way.
G2 going for the culture victory, then.
There we go. So they bring a samurai against a tank, and then we see how that goes.
Give the samurai a lightsaber, maybe? Would
Potentially.
help out a little bit. Anyway, back to the game at hand. Basically even. Yet to see another Ornn upgraded item on the side of G2. Schalke still do have items to build. And it's a 6-item Tristana as well.
Let's see what happens bot lane right now, because NukeDuck is fighting 1v2 at the moment.
Sterex comes out, here's the TP, and the Tahm Kench immediately turns into a 4v2, and G2 have been caught out by 4 members of Schalke. Jankos tries to flash away, but Upset is going to open up, can't quite get the kill, and Chachi can't do it either.
But G2 have done such a good job not falling for this trap of suddenly 2 or 3 members of Schalke showing up with TP and Tahm Kench, and then they take the fight this late in the game. They get punished instantly, good reaction from Schalke. That's now the bot lane inhib in their favor.
And they get 2 things, they get the kill and they get the inhibitor, so Schalke turning the tides on this game. Now they're waiting around the corner because Chachi's going to jump in with an Gnar, knocks Jankos back right in across the wall as well. Here comes the call of the Portugal as G2 try desperately to defend. Right in that front line, PerkZ still alive in the back, and Upset gets caught out. Sleepy trouble bubble, NukeDuck jumps in. Brian manages to take down Jankos, but Schalke cannot push any further forward.
Another good kill here for Schalke. Got the passive down as well. Vander dodging around very nicely and will get to walk away. So big plays. All started with NukeDuck in a 1v2, and then G2, they got greedy. They thought they could jump in with a Zac and a GP and kill this LeBlanc here, but NukeDuck is just dodging around to damage. That's all he cares about. He knows backup is arriving shortly, and no one from G2 can match that kind of roaming from a Tahm Kench ulti.
And because of the way Wunder's built as well, he's incredibly squishy.
I mean, of course, it's all about the crit damage, but this is what happens in very long games. One little slip up where you just lose track of the enemy comp for 1 second, and then suddenly you get punished. We have Schalke taking the Baron now. Schalke got the early Elder Drake, they have bot lane inhib. Everything right now has gone in their favor, and it's not based on pure 5-on-5 team fighting. It's based on utilizing globals and mobility. This is so hard to execute this kind of draft from Schalke's side, and as we see from G2, if you give them the chance, they strike.
G2 have shown us they can do exactly the same though. Winning out last week against H2K and Splyce, after being behind against Splyce as well in that game. So they do still have ways to work back into this game. We've talked about their siege composition, we talked about their late game damage. They do still have avenues of opportunity.
We've seen how hard it is if they don't get to land poke first. It's kind of relying on either a great poke into catching one guy or Wunder landing an amazing combo with the barrels. It's so difficult though in late game fights. People can kill the barrels in front of you most of the time, or they step out of range just when you combo up the 3 barrels and you want to get the big hit. So it's difficult in that case. Hjärnan in that last fight actually got some time to sit on auto and fully stack that Rage Blade, but then NukeDuck just snuck to the side, jumped the wall, and Hjärnan had to stop autoing and walk away. Look for that again if Schalke have the advantage in terms of the early setup, so they can get the flanks. A pure 5-on-5 engage on G2's side is going to be good though for the Samurais.
Cleared out vision down towards this bottom side. Jankos waiting in the wings, but isn't going to do anything yet because Schalke are respecting G2's engage. They're backing away, splitting down. Once again, 1-3-1. Chachi in the top lane, trying to take down this inhibitor tower. PerkZ will clear out the wave.
Trying again. They still have to remember the Tahm Kench ult is there to instantly join the fight in that side lane. Oh, Wunder once again getting poked down very low.
Call of the Force got used mid. They're just trying to make a fight in the mid lane, but G2 have to use it to disengage.
Yeah, Jankos was top first and moved down just when the engage happened. G2 are not sitting with a lot of ground under them. It's just the base. Let's see what happens here.
As he's brought back, he's asleep as well. Does have the GA. The cannon barrage is going to come out as well. They knock him up, and Chachi somehow gets away into Vander's belly and spat out down towards the mid lane. Mid lane inhibits tower goes down as well, and G2 are desperate. They just want something out of this fight.
They keep trying to get the fight here. Bubble lands.
Jankos.
He's asleep. He cleansed the first bubble, so he still falls asleep after. He's fine for now, though. Once again, Schalke, multiple lanes, multiple members. Use your utility, use your gap closers, and pull G2 around. I like that Jankos are trying to find the engage. Got very close, but Chachi's GA is still alive.
We are entering new territory for both these teams this split. The longest game for either of them. And this is where it all counts. This is where the preparation really comes to bear. Chachi's going to go asleep once again, but he will Gnar out. Here's the call of the Forge God on towards Vander. Jankos is going to jump in. Hjärnan's on his way, but Vander flashes away. NukeDuck now with the flank. Schalke engaged. The Gnar doesn't connect. Wunder, though, has a lot of damage from the side. Already Hjärnan down. And they're going to sacrifice Jankos as well. It's a double for the Duck. And Schalke are not giving up yet. They want to close this one out. Baron buff. Minions pushing in 2 lanes as well. The Supers are doing a lot of work here. As Schalke null fear set their sights on the Nexus, but they cannot quite find the final portion of it.
Oh, a lot of low members here. Can they get a hit? No. Upset ended up using his summoners right there. See if they can get something. Wunder's damage is very high, but he needs to land the barrel.
Super is going to fall the inhibitor as well. 2 inhibitors down now for Schalke. They are still 5 men standing proud in the base of G2, who only have 3 to defend. And Chachi's going to push towards these Nexus towers. NukeDuck jumps in, gets the tower upset, takes a massive burst of damage from the paddle star, and Schalke use that as their signal to retreat.
Ooh, no one here from G2 can TP into a fight, so the chase, it's on, but it's only 3 members for now.
Sleepy Trouble Bubble is down there as well. Yeah, Chachi's just going to die. That is the right call from Schalke. They have 2 inhibitors, they can sacrifice 1 man, and there's an Elder Drake for them as well.
Exactly, because no one from G2 can spawn and then instantly like TP in behind. Schalke, they know. Leave 1 guy, go Elder Drake, no one is going to stop us. So they do secure another big objective. There's no Baron alive they can grab, but they got 2 inhibs down. 1 Nexus turret gone. Top lane inhib turret is low. So very easy access into the base. But we can see the defense just based on the long-range damage of G2. Just when you think Schalke can actually finish the game, they get poked down and they have to back away and play a little bit safer. GA sold once again by Chachi because it was of course used in the last fight. So he's still a very strong front line, Gnar. And I want to see Hjärnan's damage done at the end. It's a tough game for him to play. There is enough tools to get to him in the backline. There's this LeBlanc that is so well played by NukeDuck. That's constantly forcing Hjärnan to move around. While on the other side, Upset is feeling safe. Constantly dealing a ton of damage from long range with his 6 items. And a Tahm Kench next to him that can devour him.
NukeDuck's foregone boots as well here, going for a full 6-item LeBlanc. You're facing a Rabadon's Death Cap, a Hextech Gunblade, a Lichbane, a Liandry's, a Morello's, a Void Staff. That is not a pretty picture if you're the enemy AD clown.
And this late in the game, as long as you play the LeBlanc correct, then she can be amazing in late game fights. If you keep dancing around the flanks like he's doing, oh, Jankos will find him now.
But NukeDuck can just distort away. Good escape from him.
It feels like G2 kind of last stand now. If they do not win the next fight, that tiny base of theirs, it's gone. It's completely gone. I know, obvious statement, but we've had so many fights in this game where it was not the game-winning fight. It was always, okay, you will lose something, but you're still in the game. Next one for G2, it's do or die.
Second Infinity Edge here on Wunder, so it's going to be a battle of 6-item carries if he stays down towards this bottom lane, because NukeDuck is there, Baron up in 30 seconds. Feels like that's what Schalke are waiting for. They've got mid lane pressures, they push in the lane, they've got 2 control wards around this Baron pit, and they know that G2 have no awareness of that area of the map at all. NukeDuck has his TP as well. Chachi actually changed to cleanse here instead of having a teleport of his own.
Bot lane, we still have to look at NukeDuck versus Wunder, because it's NukeDuck who's been winning the 1v1 every time. He can jump in, he picks the trade, and then he jumps back. Wunder can't really return enough fire. He can shoot him once in the face with the gun. That seems to be about it.
Oh my goodness! NukeDuck gets nuked by PerkZ!
That was absolutely insane. Payback from earlier in the game when NukeDuck juked PerkZ and killed him. Huge, huge play.
NukeDuck is through the minion wave?
But NukeDuck is gone for a minute now. Baron is just spawning. Schalke might try and look for the finish if G2 goes for it. Let's see it again, let's see it again. Amazing setup. Flashing through the minion in his face, almost one-shotting him.
That's probably the best Zoe play I've seen in EU. That was incredible.
Anyway. What a time to do it as well, this far into the game. But because there's a threat of Schalke finishing the game, if G2 overcommits to the Baron, they haven't been able to do it yet. 25 seconds on NukeDuck with TP ready. G2 are so scared because they know leaving that base could mean the game is over. They're going for it now. They push some of the waves at least. Top lane is pushing in their favor as well right now.
PerkZ is looking for the flank as well, down towards the bottom side of this. 10,000 HP on the Baron. Chachi is there as well. NukeDuck teleport up 4 seconds. Baron goes down. Wunder gets it. Pride jumps in, but he can't be slowed, and he's going to jump away from this. G2 get out. Looks like it. NukeDuck does have the teleport. He's going down towards the bottom lane.
Instantly TPing in. Mid lane inhib just respawned, but G2 got the Baron recalls now. Already just running back in the base.
This is brave from Upset. He's going to try and jump the wall, but he jumps straight into the call of the Forge God. Jankos trying to chase in. Upset cleanses it away with the QSS on that Scimitar. NukeDuck's pushed in a big wave down here, but that gets cleaned out pretty quickly. And G2 now with the Baron buff can defend. We said there's always hope. Vander engaged on Jankos there. He's stunned up, he's knocked up, but the re-engage comes out. Chain of Corruption doesn't hit. Glacial Prison does. NukeDuck on PerkZ down towards the bottom side. PerkZ somehow survives, but NukeDuck isn't going to let him for long. That's another kill for the Schalke unstoppable tank as they push their way into the base of G2, and Pride there in that front line. NukeDuck's exhausted, but Upset's going to open up. Let's bounce. Isn't going to do too much, and Wadid there. Wunder, Hjärnan there. NukeDuck down towards the bottom side. Schalke now realizing they need to run away because Hjärnan is having an impact in this game, as is Wunder. Vander's going to get jumped on, and G2 are somehow going to win this fight.
Let's see if they can actually kill Vander as well. They lost their mid laner instantly and still managed to win the fight. And Jankos is on the Tahm Kench. Two Polish brothers fighting each other. And it's Jankos winning this one.
It wasn't a fair fight. It wasn't a fair fight.
That's fair, but still, they're going for the base now. They got the Baron buff from earlier. NukeDuck is recalling. It's him and Pride alone trying to defend. Wunder's TP is ready. He's currently sitting back, knowing there's a chance that LeBlanc could show up. Now that he realizes, okay, that's not happening, he TP's in, and now he's with the team. Stops the minion from dying, takes the inhib down. They're going for the finish.
NukeDuck has to do something huge. He has to be big for his team. He has to be the year of the Duck, but Jankos isn't going to let him. Chain of Corruption misses with Wadid there as jumps in. Here's the minion wave, Glacial Prison. That hits on towards the AD carry, but Wunder's still alive, and NukeDuck realizes he has to be so careful. Jankos jumps in. The Nexus tower's going low.
15 seconds on Upset right now. They're trying to stall it. They're trying to just wait as long as possible.
Great delay from Schalke here. They've done such a good job. NukeDuck and Pride hold on to the game for their team.
So important. This game is so crazy. There's so many back and forth. Look at this again. NukeDuck gets that flank we keep talking about. And it's straight onto PerkZ when he jumps in, because PerkZ ends up sitting in the back line. Here's NukeDuck landing a little bit of damage, and then he returns a lot more damage onto PerkZ. I think that exhaust actually saved his life, but he ends up going down. Now, it's 4v5. It feels like Schalke are gonna win. They're gonna take the game. But when they dive in, Hjärnan gets a lot of damage, and then Wunder on the GP, the full crit GP, gets a lot of return damage on that back line. Upset jumps in too aggressively, dies, and now everyone has been poked low by both the Varus and the Gangplank. And G2 win the fight, but they cannot win the game, Medic.
G2 are ahead in inhibitors now. Both those inhibs have respawned for them. They still have the mid down. Chachi gonna get spotted out by PerkZ. Sleepy Trouble Bubble does not connect. Hits the Tahm Kench as the call of the Forge God comes in from the side. And Vander, look at the damage on towards the Tahm Kench. Chain of Corruption's gonna land as well. NukeDuck realizes he needs to do something as he jumps in. G2 have one kill. Wunder takes a chunk as well. Jankos there. Let's bounce. Brings Upset back. And he's gonna get taken out. It's a double kill for G2. Is this just the game?
This should be the game for them. They have super minions in the mid lane. They might even get another kill here on Chachi. No, he's running away from now. Never mind, he's gone.
Triple for PerkZ is up to Pride and NukeDuck once again, but they're in a 2v5, and NukeDuck, this would be the mightiest play he could ever bring out. G2 and Schalke most kills in a game this split, and G2 just want the win at the end of it. Both Nexus towers going down. NukeDuck holding on to some last vestige of hope, but G2 are not gonna let him have it. They take him out, and they take the Nexus.
Insane game between G2 and Schalke. I'm ready for game 2, 3, 4, and 5. We sadly won't get them today, but hopefully this was a preview of a potential playoff match between these two organizations. Back and forth, split push versus pure team fight. Amazing mid lane performances on both sides, and then Wunder on the GP in the end with some big moments. And G2 win the second fight in a row. Something we have not seen often in this game, a team winning 2 team fights in a row, but they did it at the end when it really mattered. Suddenly, Vander found himself too far forward. He ended up dying early, then the AD carry dropped, and G2 took the Nexus.
What a game, what an absolute barnstormer of a matchup, and both teams should hold themselves proud for that game, because I think if you put basically any other opponent in the league against either of these teams playing that well, they'd probably go home with the win.
Fascinating game. Gonna rewatch that one a lot of times to look at all the different fights.
I assumed it was to listen to my voice.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's talk about...
Actually, I might practice cast it with another play-by-play, just to get a new voice.
Yeah, because then you wouldn't be carried as much by your play-by-play in the cast. Let's come back to the game, though. G2 and Schalke. It just went so late, and it's those micro decisions, Deficio.
I mean, it is so much about knowledge of how to play a team fight, keeping it cool as a team in terms of communication. One thing we often hear from new teams is that everyone is talking. Like, everyone is calling something. You're in the late game. You don't want to lose this one. It's so close. 5 members are calling 5 different things, and it all goes wrong. But in this game here, it felt like both teams were almost all the time on the exact same page. It just came down to who could outplay the other one, or who will, for 1 second, be a little bit too greedy, step a little bit too far forward. And then we also had some of the sick mechanical plays, like the hit in the bot lane from PerkZ. But the juke earlier from NukeDuck as well. Like, PerkZ versus NukeDuck is a matchup we can watch a million times.
I still don't think we could say either of those mid laners is better than the other. They're still going to be battling out for that #1 spot.
Well, we have PerkZ with the achievements to claim best mid laner in Europe at the moment. A couple of guys, of course, going to challenge it. Both mid laners ended with 9 kills in this game and were massive parts of the team fights.
And they were. For the final fight of the day, our analysts have selected Wunder, PerkZ and Jankos as your options for player of the game. Make sure to jump over onto @LOL eSports on Twitter, where you can decide the result. We're going to reveal the winner in the post-game lobby in just a few minutes. And what an absolute difficult decision that will be to make. I know NukeDuck is joining us on PGL in a couple of minutes, so maybe people want to vote for him.
He's going to be thrilled, you know. He wants to, of course, talk about everything that happened in the game here, but oh, yeah, voting for MVP in this one, tough. I'm on either Wunder or PerkZ, but I think Jankos had some great engages, so I can see either one get it.
It's one of those tough ones, because I think Jankos it wasn't as obvious if you look at his KDA and his scoreline that he had such a big impact in the game. But if you look back at some of those team fights, like he abducted NukeDuck once, he abducted Upset once, he abducted Vander a few times, and he was targeting. It was like it was a laser focus with that Zac.
And him and Wadid were so important in trying to stop the split push because they were the ones to engage every single fight in the mid lane. So we had a lot of moments where I feel like almost every player stood out. Yeah. Wadid had some great engages with Jankos. We got to highlight him as well.
Hjärnan had that great fight near the end as well at that inhibitor, because a lot of the game we were saying he wasn't really doing as much damage as we expected him to.
It was just hard for him in this game. You know, he died in the early game, he was a bit behind on items, and then in team fights, standing still and auto-attacking on a unhit Varus against different kind of flanks from a Gnar, from a LeBlanc, like, that's not easy.
Not at all. G2 closed out the day with a win over Schalke. Let's head over to Law, who's sitting down with Jankos and PerkZ.
Thank you very much, Medic. Indeed, I'm sitting here with PerkZ and Jankos after this crazy win and crazy game against Schalke. I mean, guys, were you expecting to win today, PerkZ?
I mean, we are always expecting to win. When you go on stage, you don't go on stage expecting to lose. Whoever I face against, I expect to win. So I was expecting to win, but I was not expecting to win in this fashion because this was... It was such a horrible game. It was just a classic EU clown fiesta. That's what it was.
Talk me through the last minutes of the game, Jankos. What made the difference in the end?
I know both teams are really boosted, but I think we were less boosted than them. I mean, to be honest, team fights from both teams looked really weird, and I think in the end we played well our comp. Like we kind of, even though PerkZ died and almost lost us the game, we still played a well fight, and then enemy Tristana kind of jumped in, and you know we used that fact to win the fight, and then Tahm and Kench ult on top was kind of weird as well. So I think right now EU LCS looks like which teams makes more mistakes loses, kind of. Like no one is making good plays. Everyone is just like doing mistakes.
Yeah, well, you used to say that in PGL on week 1, the fact that at the moment many EU teams are not performing well because they don't understand the game. I mean, what do you think they miss from the game, Jankos?
Well, I think that maybe it's the communication or maybe it's just overall the game knowledge. It feels like Misfits is a really good team or Fnatic, but they have their days that they don't look so good and they still make mistakes. So I'm not sure if this is maybe because it's regular season and people don't pay as much attention and then the mistakes from scrims happen in the real game, or maybe it's the stress for the rookies. In Schalke, for example, it looks really weird though. Like yesterday I spoke to Fabi, or 2 days ago, and he said that NA players are actually better, and I would never believe it, but now, I mean, looking at how it is in EU, it's kind of weird, you know, but on the other hand, we still have 1 hour games everywhere, so.
Well, interesting thing you're mentioning, Fabi. PerkZ, you're still the best mid laner in EU, of course. I mean, that's the way people state you in interviews. Well, yeah. What do you think makes you above the rest?
Well, I think right now, I'm not playing at my highest level anyways, so I don't know if I can be called like that. My early mid games are like, I do a lot of random mistakes. They're like, because I lose focus or because of our comms or like our misplayed plans in game. And we make mistakes and that like makes me play really bad. Well, not really bad, but like sometimes make mistakes. I think the edge I have over others is that I've played in many metas and that I have been on every basically tournament in the last 2 years there was. So I got a lot of experience from playing against the best teams. And just, I practice a lot, so I always have to keep on top because there are so many good millionaires in Europe that can like contest for the spot and they can like outplay me or something, but it's like, it motivates me to keep going. I just don't want to be, I don't want to be second best or third best. I just want to be the best all the time.
Well, talking about being, oh, that's so cute. Talking about being the best, I remember in the off-season you mentioned wanting to be the best Zoe player. Why do you love this player, this champion so much?
I don't actually like it so much. It was more of like a meme tweet, and I don't know. My Zoe was good, but then like it's sometimes bad. I don't know. I don't think I'm so good at Zoe, like to be honest. So there is for sure better Zoe players in the world than me, but I will have to practice more on it so I can become the very best.
I wasn't listening to you guys before the interview. You were telling him maybe about the mistakes he made. Can you tell him live the mistakes he made on Zoe this game?
I mean, I think overall PerkZ is a really great player. So we kind of, you know, it's normal that we talk about mistakes. I made probably more mistakes than him this game, or maybe he did, I don't know yet. But I think when he plays Zoe, sometimes he wants to do more than he needs to do because maybe he wants to pick up the slack from other teammates, including me or anyone. So he's a good player, but maybe he wants too much sometimes, you know, and he just has to be happy with what we have and just play with the team.
And how is the synergy between the two of you, PerkZ?
Well, I think that we are working well together, but we have so much more to improve on because, like, we are not sure how to play with each other yet. Yeah, Jankos has completely different playstyle than what I played with for the last 2 years. So, but we are both willing to improve, so we're gonna keep improving. And as of right now, I'm just gonna make Jankos my dog.
Oh, well, you guys seem to be on a good track, and thanks again.
I mean, he's kind of trying since like a couple of weeks already, but it's not working out for you, is it?
Okay, well, apparently there's things to deal with off stage, but we're done on this side of the stage from now on. Congratulations again, guys, for today, and we're gonna send it to the EU LCS post-game lobby, and Jankos, take it away.